Well, hi YouTubers. Okay, this is part of Physics 5100 books, and this is Havisham by Ronald Frame. Now, I'll read the blurb on the back. It's a very long blurb, so I'll skip to read the first bit. Alright, Catherine Havisham was born into privilege. Handsome, imperious, she is the daughter of a wealthy brewer and lives in luxury at Satter's house. But she is never far from the smell of hops and the arresting letters on the brewhouse walls. Havisham, a mind of all she owes to the family name and the family business. In his post-facto prelude to Great Expectations, Ronald Frame tells the compelling story of Miss Havisham, early life before heartbreak came to define her entirely. It is a masterly tribute to one of Dickens' most celebrated and iconic characters. Now, Miss Havisham of Great Expectations, in her story, she was jilted at the altar, and she spent the rest of her life wearing her wedding dress, surrounded by the remains of a wedding breakfast never ever eaten, and being like Charlotte Perkins Gilmore, Gilman, the mad woman in the attic. Now, from the yellow wallpaper. Now, I'm going to put a link to that in the description for that too. Now, this is a really, really good book. I was surprised how he managed to retell his Havisham story, but in a way that is also very canonical to the Dickens story too. It also kind of undermines. I mean, this book is very written in much the spirit of a Dickensian novel. It is kind of willowy with the words, but to the point. There's kind of like an undercurrent going through, and obviously this is not a spoiler. She was judged at the altar. She's very, very proud. She's very, very intelligent. She basically manages to run her own business after her father dies. She has an estranged half brother who she does not get along with, and which is an understatement, really an understatement. But also, every single kind of tranquil moment in this book is undercurrented by. Is an undercurrent running through it. Like, this is page 208. This is when she's actually jilted by Compeyson, the guy who stole her heart and then ruined her heart. Here we go. I had read only the first few words when I felt my heart leap into my throat and I couldn't breathe. I cannot but expect that the contents of this letter must greatly aggrieve you. I stared at the sheet of paper, my eyes fixed. The lines of script swam in front of me, white spots flared over them. Because I do not recognise how much your heart was set on our union. No, no, no. What I say will distress you, I'm certain. I felt the wetness of both legs, a stream of hot liquid starting to soak my stockings. And I can think of no way of preparing you easily for it. In short, Catherine, I cannot be your husband. I shouldn't control myself. A rivet of piss flowed out of me. Suddenly in an instant, my life had turned to tragedy. I hope that with the passing of the months, you will find it within you to offer me some measure of forgiveness. He was having a joke, wasn't he? It was meant to be a test for me. To offer me some measure of forgiveness. I closed my eyes for several moments and opened them again. The letter was still there. You'll recover your spirits to find some worthier suitor for you than I could ever be. Okay, so yeah, exactly. So most other authors would have ended this book at this moment, but no, he carries on with it. Basically, Catherine Havisham has a martyr complex going on. She kind of starts to revel in this idea of being the mad woman in the attic, the untouchable, the out there. That she actually orders carbon copies of her wedding dress to wear. She revels in this. If she cannot be married and a wife and a mother, then she'll be mad. And she embraces that. She adopts Estella to essentially create someone who will treat men how she presumes herself to be treated. She raises Estelle without a heart. And then acts surprised when Estelle acts heartless. It's kind of like it's gone too late. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, this bit here. This sums up perfect. It's when Estelle's getting a little bit older. Okay? This is martyr complex. She's looking at me queerly. What is it, Estella? Why the big eyes? Didn't you ever want to wear your old clothes again? Instead of your wedding clothes? It was the end of something. Her naivety. I wanted critical acceptance. And what was I to say to her? Because everything is symbolic and gestures. I know that now. Because we only play and declare at life. Because true life is too awesome and terrifying to bear. Were you going to be married? I thought I was. But you didn't get married. The man who was meant to be my husband, he decided. It was his fault. I decided to nod, then I stopped myself. It wasn't to be, that's all. Were you sad? I was too angry to be sad. She continued to stare at me, at my wedding dress, and my greying hair shot through with white. She stared in the same way to stare at myself, at the strange sights I saw when I was being walked around the town. Those poor souls, people would stare at them. They lost their minds. Whenever anything changed, even in my dimensions were bound to be altered. Just as before, I told him my Modesta's niece it'll be a fine work, a third wedding dress. She will keep this going on. In her mind, she is above all that. She's untouchable. It's kind of like, you know, in Victorian times, a woman could be married or not. That was their status, and that was how it was back then. So you can't. But she keeps it going. She could have easily just gone on with her life and married someone else. Or not got married, but kept the business afloat. In the end, she kind of leaves the business in the hands of other people and goes off to be married with Estella, her adopted child. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, Estella is as much a victim of Miss Havisham, as Pip is. Because Pip, in the book, he becomes this wealthy benefactor, and he believes it to be Miss Havisham, because at the time he's a playmate with Estelle. So Miss Havisham does nothing to dissuade this. In the end, Pip is as much of a victim as Miss Havisham is. He feels obligated to her, and Estelle treats Pip like shit. But that's the way she's been taught. These two people, these children, if you will, are in this terrible kind of situation between benefactor and benefactress. Between, oh, hey, it's like that. Now, I've read Great Expectations many years ago, and to be honest, Dickens was a misery merchant. He always was. But yeah, the thing is, she's set herself up to be a victim of this, to be above all that. But she's just tragic in herself. I mean, this is it, okay? It was always 20 minutes to 9 inside his house. The passage of the weeks was marked by me instead of the Wednesday afternoon arrival and departure of cousins on their petitioning business that was never satisfied. I was annoyed by their myopic clock watching irregularity, even though I insisted on it. Playing themselves, I presumed, at the same minute, at the same hour every week, staying not a moment longer than I had demanded of them. She was relieved that we were so compliant, but I felt the difference between us was exemplified by the servitude to time as it was measured out to the artifice dictates of a pendulum swinging, as the clockmaker's tradition, on a length of gut, tube that carries semen from a bull's testicles. Perfectly sums her up. That she will entertain people and they can't go until a certain point. She has all this power, and the way she wields it is absolutely terrible. Victims of her mentality. Throughout the book, it drops in classical literature like Dido and all that kind of stuff, the classics. In her head, she's a martyr. She's a martyr to womanhood when she's clearly not. And this is the beauty of this novel, is it does not hold back to what kind of person Miss Havisham really is. The thing is, though, with this, it felt like Little Nell from the Old Curiosity Shop, in the margins. This is a character from the first person narrative. However, I never ever really got within her head, because she's vapid, she's like a ghost. In a way, she's kind of like, I don't know, one of the spirits of Christmas spirits from Christmas Carol. But the thing is, it carries on throughout the narrative. Ronald Frame is a damn good author, by the way. And this was not an easy read, though I did enjoy it, because it's nice to see different kind of perspectives on Dickens' tales, and all in the public domain go nuts. Okay, so I do recommend this if you read the Great Expectations and want to know a little bit more about this. Okay, obviously it's another author's opinion on an author's character, but I do recommend this book. Okay, so sign off here, YouTubers. Have a nice day. Bye now.